You say today you already know about it, but
Give it all of my cards.
just a little bit of ideas. Okay. In fact, what the area is doing now, I think it should present to other people around the world, not only to the people in this room, but are we ready for the change? Many people talk about, well, right, Lynn talk about the change, including you, everybody here, and we know all what happened in the change. But what I gathered from the creator.com, they announced what we will have in the future. AI, 5G network, which already here somewhere, automation, medical upgrade. Right now we have problems. We have problem how to take care of the one who is just about to die, how to decide who to live and who to die. And digital debit, wow, all the change that will come in this coming century. What will become of man in this century? I think we are concerned about the same question. Many questions can be questioned for the future. Can AI replace man? And many movies came out that AI has more being human being than human does. So what are we? All the change in technology help man effectively or not? With all the technological change, how can I get rid of this black here? Do you know how? This one? Never mind. No, this
You go down.
go down.
Yeah, can you use that lane down there?
Huh?
Just scroll down.
Oh. No. What I mean this part, the black. What animal? Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Right, thank you. So with all the technological invention, do human be a better person, happier or more miserable? These are the questions I think that we are all concerned about. What will become of man? So the 21st century question for man, I think I go back to the very old basic question. What is good for man? What is a good life? What is the meaning of life? Are we trying to do more about nature, invent more for the better of mankind, or is it like opening a Pandora jar? Or is it only for the curiosity of man and material gains? I think that right now we found out that we all want to invent it more and more, but we know what is the end of it. But we never know about the result of it aspect. Well, the role said that our inventions are but improved means to an improved end, because we never know how it will end. So, technology and man. Neil Postman, in his book Technopoly, which came out almost 10 years ago, the world or the present world had never before confronted with information glut and has hardly had time to reflect upon its consequence. Well, right now we use mobile phone. We have all kinds of information and we never know what is real, what is not, what is fake or what is real. And what is, and look at the youngster, they are even more the victim of all these changes. For Plato, in his Phaedrus, Thomas and Thought, the conversation between the two, Thought was a god of invention. He invented so many things, numbers, calculation, geometry, astronomy, and writing. And for writing, even for writing, Thomas said, man will cease to exercise their memory and become forgetful. Just think about your mobile phone or your close relative. You can remember it because it's happened there already. We rely on writing to bring things to their memories, but external sign instead of their own internal resources, not for memory. And for the wisdom, we will have repetition of it without the reality. We receive quantity of information without proper instruction, and in consequence, be thoughtful, very knowledgeable, when they are, for the most part, very quite ignorant. And because they are filled with the concise of wisdom instead of real wisdom, they will be a burden to the society. So this is a project of Thomas, the wise king of Egypt. And if you take the sign in the United States, many people cannot go home because they depends on the sign of their, not the way to go home, but the sign that direct them to go home. And now we have the GPS and everything, and so we depends on the GPS. We don't know what is the real way to do whatever we do. It depends on something else always. So Thomas' wisdom. Once technology is admitted, it plays out of his hand. It does what it's designed to do. Our task is to understand what that design is. This is to say, when we admit a new technology to the culture, we must do so with our eyes wide open. But the eyes of the society, many people ask, do the one who use it or the one who make law, making it. Who knows what is the best for man? You know, when you are a lawmaker, or you want to be the victim of the technology yourself, you hardly know what will become the next consequence. Technology, what have been created? Human genetic engineering, gene editing, TV, cell phone, computer. Computer can replace many things right now. It can replace lawyer, journalists, scientists, pharmacists, radios, medical doctors. Computer can do all those. So people will be unemployed, even doctor himself. So the world will become in the equality of the world right now. Technology are not distributed equally. There are winners and losers. It helps to create wider gap among men. African youth, 3 out of 5 offline. European, 1 out of 25. English website, 65%, 12% only men internet use more than women. So the sexual inequality, but right now not in Thailand, because the Thai women are very more effective and efficient than men. And you will take a look on that. So how far shall we go? The question of innovation. The present day companies, scientists, business around the world want to invent more products in order to be ahead of other companies or even other nations. This kind of creativities of man are being promoted in order to have new products for the success of the company, but not for what is good for man. So everybody are the rat race trying to find out what is the new thing so that we can. You have iPhone 11, iPhone 12 in the next few years. There's models changing all the time. How to attract for the better, even computer or whatever. So how do you balance the use of technology and able to maintain man's dignity? Inventors never realized the possible results of the invention and effect on man, such as television. There was a book, I don't know if any of you have run through it, for arguments for the elimination of television by gerrymander. And as a result, some people can never live without television today. And many old people, sit in front of the television all the time, such as my sister. When she go home, she never move from her chair. She will sit there and follow all kinds of things, whether you should follow or not. And so television, computer, cell phone, these are the things that we all use. How do the above technologies affect on us? Right, and you can answer that. Right? Gerrymander for arguments for the elimination of television.
I was, if I may interrupt, sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking how capitalism, money for instance, gives man more freedom rather than it's freedom that gives man. For instance, if you have money, you subscribe to Netflix, so meaning to say you have more choices. So it's money really that gives you these options So if you don't have money, you are like into this commercial thing, and so therefore you're actually utilized by this business interest, and so it undermines
So
human
you're
life.
trying to say that we better make money.
No, not really, but I think there's something wrong with the world.
So
How,
please be specific. But I'm not going to let you interrupt me so long because we have to go for lunch. And the question is, we cannot live by money alone. Without money, we cannot eat.
That's right.
Right? But with money, we cannot eat either. Because if without products, see, what do you choose? You give the people food, and then people choose the bag, you know. You put the food in front of them. What do you choose?
I still believe that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Please.
Okay, let me go on. Okay? Now. He's a distractor. Okay, now. For books, okay, the books that are the four arguments, which I think that it's applied to everything that we are in the social media right now. He said that gerrymander said mediation of experience. You cannot distinguish between what is real, what is not. Whatever to be so real, some commercial put the baby in front of the water and they can swim. So some parents crazy enough to put the baby in, and the baby got drowned, and they try to sue on that kind of advertisement. So this is no direct knowledge, cannot distinguish between what is truth and what is not. Colonized of experience, necessary of life, created by propaganda of consumer society, corporate power, conspiracy of technology, and economic factors. It's so sad, you know, we are under this kind of changing at all times, especially in television in Thailand. The other day I talked to the director of the television, of the movie, or the soap. He said, without a scene that is so violent, no one want to watch it. Yeah. And that the rate has to go up. So you have to put all those scenes into it, so the rate comes up. Now, third aspect of television, computer and cell phone, to control, create illusion of perception to the conscious and unconscious mind, from active mind to passive, lead to the lack of self-awareness and problem of solving, lead to self-comparison, alienated from society and knowledge of the self, due to the freedom of information at all times, no creativity of the mind. Once I talked to some great kindergarten teacher, he said she can tell which student let the parents let the kids watch the television all the time. You can see the eyes, no blinking eyes, no future for the baby. But for those who learn how to be with nature and everything, they are different kind of kids. So this is a damage that the television can do to people, but for the elders as well. Well, look at the cell phone. Some of us cannot stop from being with the cell phone. Yeah, like Ananya right now. Inherent bias of television and other technology. Yeah. False and real knowledge change one's perception of community, politics, and economy. One who has the power is the one who controls the media. Probably you talk about Nixon and Kennedy the other day when they debate on the television. So Kennedy won because Kennedy is a good speaker, and this affects a lot upon the whole change of technology. Now, facing problems. Technology effect upon man. AI, robot, risk, problem of environment, unemployment, computer crime, virus conspiracy, digital banking, crime. Now, you've got to be very careful using the digital banking in your mobile phone. It can be hacked easily. Human relationship decline, stress, suicide, so there are so many movies come out that people always talking with one another through mobile phone, whereas the real people around here, they don't talk to one another. The loss of privacy and view of the self, progress of medication lead to the question of right to die or not, and right to live or not. Many other problems such as stealing and selling organs. Right now, I think this problem come to my country, not only in India, that they notice that people got their organs took off. Now, so what is the secret of life among all these problems that we create? Try to answer the question that what is good for man? Starting from Socrates, I'm Socrates' fan, and his word "know thyself" I think is a very important idea for man to live on this world, even in this century. Knowing who you are very difficult. First, we always amuse ourselves with all the gadgets around us. Even in this century, even more than before, need to be introspect within ourselves. Very difficult to accept who we are in all aspects. And Montaigne, the French thinker, said that to accept ourselves help us to accept others. So starting with ourselves is very important. I think it's starting with ourselves will help us to answer some of your questions that you stated before this time too. Understanding yourself, understanding life. Knowing who you are leads you to know what you want to do with your life and satisfy with it. Self-contentment and happiness can be attained. Find out what is good for oneself and also what is good for the others. Well, I think Dr. Sorak just went away. He just posed in his little dialogue, which sorry that he went away because he said, how do you know what is good for others? When did you know what is good for yourself? It's already right here. Okay. Realizing the problems, the importance of love and compassion. Man can find true happiness within oneself. That is, the altruistic love and peace can easily be attained. I think all of us in this room agree. I think Dali is the one who started bioethics and love of life. Without that, we will not be here at the first place. We are concerned about ourselves, our future, what is good for the others, as well as what is good for ourselves. Because we have altruistic love to everybody. I think this is a starting place, which I believe that's why we are here, especially in this room. But the process is painful. It's painful because you have to have a lot of obstacles, a lot of things to learn about yourself and others, a lot of observation and accepting. So how do you find out who you are? Find time to be yourself and reflect upon yourself. Habituate your mind at one pointedness, such as your own breathing, writing a diary every day, observing your thoughts and feelings. Introspect within oneself, why and how we think the way we do. Krishnamurti said, asking yourself why you look at the sky and see that it is calm, peaceful, and all turbulent, which can tell about your own feeling of that day, if you are happy or sad or angry. Or further on, you can explain why you feel the way you do. So understanding and accepting is very important. The process of accepting and understanding all things around us are important. That's why it has to be alienated. Will not be alienated. Right now we have a lot of news of suicide, a lot of unhappiness around ourselves, especially in this country, when we know that the death of the private sector is far beyond it should be. This is the whole problem of being alienated the whole society and the unhappiness of everybody. It is important to learn to balance ourselves and the technology change by being mindful and able to exist by oneself, stay beyond change and technology and the society. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that things are changing. You can hardly help not to change. When you talk about uncertainty, everything is uncertainty. Not only in technology or whatever you choose in technology, but how can you deal with it? This is a problem. How to deal with the change. So, in order to deal with the change, you have to deal within yourself first, and then go out to the outside. Learning to balance is not simple. If one knows the direction of life, then the process is easy. But without any direction, it's like a boat floating away without any direction. Okay? When you cannot control yourself. Without knowledge, the modern man cannot control oneself will face miserable life and cannot find what is the world outside. The world is full of illusion. Will become the victim of all the technological change and will be miserable. So the key words is that mindfulness, love, and compassion. These are the key words. So bioethics, autonomy, respect, beneficence, best for one and non-malevolence, not to harm and justice, what is good and what is just. So bioethics can only achieve through mindfulness, altruistic love, and compassion. It's easier to know the definition, but how to do it, that is another question. Without understanding and realizing the real meaning of the key words, how do you respect one another? When you have the technology and you can manipulate all kinds. Look at all the hospitals that earn a lot of money through manipulation. What is the best for one and what's good and just for man? This cannot be achieved without knowing the answer. So find quiet time to be yourself, free from all the technology device. You can find peace within yourself and not to be the victim of technology gadget. Able to balance oneself and survive well within the change, and this is happening very fast in the 21st century. Self-reflection and self-knowledge and happiness. The more one learns about oneself, the more one can give and sympathize to others. Able to be grateful to oneself and to those around one. Love and compassion are possible to all if one can no longer depend on the doctrine or belief. One can depend on oneself and to be happy with it. Self-contentment can be attained. You can live this life fully with peace of mind and happiness, and do not sway by things outside that can harm you or your fellow beings. After self-reflection, you can give to others more, and then that leads you to be more happy. Okay, that's it. The end.
Thank you. A couple, any questions, please?
You have only one question. Because the food is waiting for us.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to comment on one thing you said. When I was in South Korea, I was a professor there before I came to Thailand. A couple, a man and woman, they had a baby at home. But they were going to these places called PC Bang. It's a PC room where they have people playing computers. They were raising a family. They were doing a game where you raise a family on the screen, and they neglected their baby at home that died.
Oh, how sad.
2009, 2010.
There's a picture came out in the media. A mother put the baby down to the floor, and the mother playing the cell phone like dragon. And what happened? I said, this is downfall of the technology overcome that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guilty as charged. Actually, I'm currently owning a company that develops applications and games. That's what we do. So I think the challenge is because there's a lot of money in games and there's a lot of money in technology. No? But I think the challenge right now is I'll actually be presenting on the last day. I'll be presenting on how to use technology to actually empower and capacitate people on the ground. Because as I see, sometimes people see technology as a bad thing, but technology is actually just a tool. It depends on the person who uses technology if it could be used for good or for bad.
Right.
So basically, I think we should be able to come up with more ideas that connects technology into community development and societal development.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you.
Anybody else not using a cell phone who'd like to ask a question?
I think that there's Daryl is an expert in medicine. I think that there's a problem here, though, because when you have this onslaught of this kind of feedback, in neurology we know that there's a dopaminergic system, it's called a dopaminergic system, that is activated. And when this has a very specific activation on that dopaminergic system, but we don't have any social controls or social practices in place that we're trying to put in place that can we don't have any neuro society type structure with legal and practice. That's what I mean. So I wonder about this.
Well, I think that we can enter the lunchtime and discuss more on this. Yeah, right.
Thank you very much, Chutatip. Thank you.